between 10 and midnight local time, and they are going to experience winds of about 200 miles per hour. It is containing winds of about 295 kilometers per hour with gusts well over 300 kilometers per hour. And it is going to continue on this westward track. It's not expected to lose much strength before crossing over the islands. And it is going to finally make that dive down to the south. But this is going to be a very, very powerful storm. Not only the winds, but also the rain. We are going to see the potential for extreme flooding as well as storm surge in the next 12 hours.
Racing to get out of the way of Cyclone Winston, the strongest storm on record to hit Fiji. It's been battering the outer eastern island of Tavi-Ini with high winds and heavy rain. A nationwide curfew was imposed at 6 p.m. local time. Many islanders opted to stay at home rather than go to government shelters. But many buildings are flimsy and may not withstand such powerful winds.
The volunteers of Fiji Red Cross, with the support of the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, have been constantly in contact with the communities where the anticipation of the highly likely places where the cyclone might hit, the communities are well prepared.
Rough seas across a wide area are also endangering boats and ships. Fiji is an archipelago of more than 300 low-lying islands, prone to sea surges and flash flooding. This massive storm is slow-moving and likely to dump lots of rain on land, destroying crops. Water was already crashing over the sea wall in the capital Suva earlier in the day. Further along the coast of Pacific Harbour, Spain's national rugby sevens team helped their resort create a sandbag barrier to limit damage.
Yeah, we're scared.
People living in Nadi, the third largest city in Fiji, have prepared as best they can.
Most of the shops are closed. They already stock up their stuff as well. There's big queues on the ATM because locals are getting all the cash they can from the bank.
But there's only so much islanders can do to prepare for such a massive storm, bringing its full force to some of the most populated parts of Fiji overnight.
Of now what it actually feels like to be in this cyclone. We can speak to we're joined from Suva by the journalist Natani Rika, and we can speak there to him. Natani, tell us, is the cyclone weakening at all, or what's it like there now?
Well, I'm in the capital, which is about 200 kilometers from the eye, and wind has started to die down, and the rain has started to ease. We are told that Winston is now heading out to sea, and the worst for our area is pretty much over. But I think it won't be until the sun is up in the morning before we are able to see the extent of devastation left by this Category 5 storm.
Now, the government has said that evacuation centres have been operational. Did you go to one of these, or did you ride this out in your own home?
We had to ride this out at home. There are 758 evacuation centres open across Fiji, but there is a nationwide curfew in place, has been in place for the last 7 hours now, and will remain in place until police give the all clear. Once the emergency services people say that it's safe to move about, and that should be perhaps in another 5 to 6 hours.
What's it like staying in your own home and hearing and feeling these winds battering the walls and the roofs?
I suppose living in the tropics, you get used to it after a while, but this one has been pretty bad. We've lost branches, lost smaller trees, and we can see that some homes have lost roofs, or smaller structures have been blown down. Can be pretty frightening, but for those who are in the direct path of Winston, it has been a very an experience that they wouldn't want to go through again. And we have reports that there has been some destruction to homes across the Fiji group, and perhaps one death. as the house collapsed on the neck.
Okay, Natani Rika, thank you very much for bringing us the latest there from what's happening in the Fijian capital, Suva, as Cyclone Winston sweeps through the island. We'll leave you to ride out the rest of that storm, which we are told should be over, or the worst should be over, in a few hours' time.
Coverage continues tonight with 24-hour News 8's Kendall Pectus.
Yeah, Kendall's live in Grand Rapids with when people might expect to have their power back on. Kendall?
Brian, Marley, it's still very, very windy out here right now. I'm actually on the corner of Michigan Street and College Avenue in Grand Rapids. And tonight, power outages throughout the area. These traffic lights behind me weren't working at one point. I even drove by them, had to treat it as a four-way stop. And with the wind gusts of up to 54 miles per hour, down trees were also a bit of a problem. Now, take a look at this map right now. It's a current power outage map from Consumers Energy. Gives you a better idea of what folks throughout West Michigan are dealing with right now. As you see right there, the Kalamazoo area has the most power outages, and Consumers Energy tonight tells us folks in Kent County without power most likely won't get it back until about 11:30 tomorrow night. Now, some local businesses were also impacted today. I talked to an owner today of a local business in Norton Shores, the owner of Dog and Suds. He says the winds there were so strong, the roofing of the carport at the drive-in restaurant actually rolled right off, forcing the business to close its doors much, much earlier than normal.
I really didn't know what was going on, so we immediately closed the restaurant, took care of the customers that we had here, stopped any further orders from coming in.
And if you do have any travel plans, make sure there aren't any delays at the airport. We've confirmed from the Kalamazoo Battle Creek International Airport that a flight that was bound for San Francisco was delayed tonight. We're live in Grand Rapids. Kendall Pectus, 24-hour News 8.
All right, thank you, Kendall. Well, several businesses have been damaged by the winds, as Kendall was just showing us, including the VFW in Alto. Workers right next door at the Alto Bar confirmed with us that the roof of the building blew right off. And then in Ottawa County, firefighters are looking into whether a bar fire was a result of the storm. This happened near a home on Perry Street in Ottawa County. Several departments were called out to this barn. People who live nearby say they saw power lines sparking near the barn, and officials tell us it is still under investigation.
Now it's time for a mix. So there's a strange noise coming out in Forest Grove, Oregon, that nobody knows what it is or where it's coming from. Take a listen.
Okay.
Jeez. Isn't that weird?
It's excruciating.
They have no idea where it's coming from. At first, they thought maybe it was like metal screeching on a train track, but there are no train tracks nearby. Somebody recorded it, took it to the fire department. The fire marshal there says that they just have no clue what could be that noise.
So wait, so it's still a mystery at this point?
It's still a mystery. Still a big mystery.
It's got to be wonderful living in that neighborhood right now.
Can you imagine?
At this hour.
Drive me nuts.
Well, as we say hello to those to the audience in that town.
Just turn us up a little.
Because they're up right now with that noise.
Have you felt and heard those booms? A lot of you living in northern Lee County and southern Charlotte County have been blowing up our phone lines here at Fox 4 about a series of loud booms that are shaking homes and rattling a lot of nerves. A few weeks ago, we reported on damage possibly caused by sonic booms on Pine Island in Charlotte County. But what's to blame this time? 4 new corners. Call Fortier. We're going to get you answers tonight. Carl?
Well, those previous reports of sonic booms were just that, sonic booms from Navy jets doing training exercises over the Gulf. But today's booms were probably coming from a different source.
Didn't think too much of it, and then it seemed to be a little repetitive.
Chuck Brown lives just off of Embers Parkway in northern Cape Coral. He remembers hearing the sonic booms a couple of weeks ago from jets based out of the Key West Naval Air Station.
I came outside and looked up. It was a beautiful, beautiful day like today, and you could see the contrails from the planes.
But this morning, while he and a friend were doing some work on his house, he heard another big noise.
Today, we were actually working, and we were like, again?
But the sound he heard likely wasn't from explosive jets, but actual explosives. The Collier County Bomb Squad detonated bombs at a training site in southern Charlotte County.
I don't know what a bomb sounds like, to be honest with you, but as far as whatever went this morning was very similar to the last week or a couple weeks ago.
That's when sonic booms from jets believed to be from the Key West Naval Air Station were thought to cause this truck window to shatter in Charlotte County.
It just exploded. There was as much glass in the truck as outside of the truck.
Brown says he's not concerned the explosive training will damage his home, but he says the combination of sonic booms and bombs could get old fast.
Was I overly concerned? No, I wasn't. But is it a bit, if that's going to be a daily thing, that's a bit of a nuisance.
Continue to follow this breaking news here.